Before I go machining anything, we'll just make sure the vise is nice and square or parallel. From one end to the other, maybe a thou. Let's do it with a feed. I think we'll leave that alone. Close enough. I had a couple more goes at grinding that in. I've given it a stone on the edge and I've ground the other edge right back out the way, and I'll show you in a sec, but I've just put it in the chuck and turned it by hand. I can just see it scraping off the shaving on most of that surface. So we're very close. Let's just have another look. Don't know what you're going to be able to see, but let's have a look anyway. Let's go right down the other end. We'll cut. One thing I didn't do yet is tap it down to make sure that it's at the bottom of the vise. That's just nylon, so it shouldn't damage anything. Double check I got it tight without bending it. Let's see how it lines up down that end. Just a slight shading there. I think that's enough mucking around. How fast we got it set. Oh, it's beautiful. Zero my dial. What I'll do is I'll wind it that way. Should clear by 0.2 of a mil. Let's see if it touches it. I'm not touching there. Let's see how bent we are in the middle. There. a little bit washed out from the light. The finish is not too bad in there. The old rolling metal fingernail test. I might just let it come back with the spring pass the other way, put a bit of lube on it, and then I'll try it, see if I can fit the mating part in there. It's a bit long, might be a problem. I'm not going to be able to do it in the vise. That way around? No, that way around. Further than it went before. There's still a couple of hacky marks in here I might need to get out, depending on where it's catching. I think that's way closer. Give it a bit of a rock. See if I can tell where it touched. That'll be a no. Might just file down this mark along there a little bit more. Okay. After a little bit more fiddling around on the radiused edge through here, it now goes on. That was where it was tight. There's a little bit of play there, not much. I think these plastic glidey strips were also on this edge as well. So that's going to make a difference. They may have also been on there to that little bit of play. So we'll see what happens with that. We'll call that one fixed as it is. If you look down there now, that movement is in the slide. At this end. About 3 mil. When you clamp this down here, that will clamp down on the other end, so there'll be no movement once you lock it up. It's only going to be while you're sliding it up and down. So whether that 3 mil matters or not, and how much is taken up by the little pads, we'll find out. But I don't have the rest of the machine here, so I can't show you. The only other thing left to do now is to mount this one back underneath, and I've got some new bolts for that. Hopefully they're the right size. I remember where I put them. They'll go in there. They might be a fraction long because they'll bottom out in that square, but I can easily cut those off. So now all I need now is to make a couple of nuts. As luck would have it, I've got a bit of aluminium in stock. I'm not quite sure exactly what size it is. Looks like 10 mil wide. I can cut it as long as I want. These 2 screw holes, if I remember correctly, are exactly 40 mil apart. So rather than make 2 tiny little fiddly nuts, I'll just cut this off to be about 60 mil long. I'll put 2 holes in there, 40 mil apart, and tap them 5 mil, and that'll go in there. Actually it goes in there, but it won't go in there. They're not the same size. That was lucky, wasn't it? Lucky I checked. It's 10 mil. That's wider than 10 mil. That's a tiny bit wider than 10 mil as well. 10.1. So I'll just have to take a skim off one side so that that'll go in there right next to your leg. Now the parallels that I've got are about the same thickness as the metal that I'm cutting. As I just need to take basically 0.2 of a mil off, I should just be able to grip it and take the parallel out. That's my plan. That or it's going to grip the parallel. That didn't work. Maybe we're just going to have to do it by eye. One. 4.1. Tighten that up. Sorry about that. The battery went flat on the camera. I've just gone through and drilled those two holes 4.2 mil, which is a tapping size for 5 mil or M5. Okay, so we got the clamp bracket underneath there. I did have to cut the screws off a tiny little bit. I just ground them off. They needed a millimetre. That one will now go in there like that. There's my Allen key gone. Just doesn't quite clear this. I think I might need to cut a piece out of there. I'm going to take a 5 mil chunk out of that corner, 5 mil each way. Alrighty, I've got all those racks screwed back on and lined up. I've remounted the micro adjuster. You can see down there where I've cut my clearance out of the corner. Seems to go up the other way. Down in there like that. It can't come right off because of that. It's actually captured by the micro adjuster. But that's no big deal. So that is about it. Where you can. That one goes in there and lines up with those teeth, and as you turn that, it moves it a little bit, and when you let go, it disengages and you can slide it freely. That's it. So now we've got all that back together, we can put it back on the machine. That probably concludes this video. You can see with just a few simple ideas, we used this bolt and that nut with a little bush on the end to take the bend out of the part. Just had to mill a flat on it like that, and we ground up, that was the radius side there I think, ground up a special radius, we'll call it a single point fly cutter. It's just a 1-inch drill ground up by hand, and I hand stoned it along there, cut quite nicely. The other flute is just clearance. I would have, as I said, would have had no chance of getting those both ground exactly the same, and it didn't need it. The finish came out quite all right, and the fit is good. Everything's good. So just goes to show, with a little bit of ingenuity and thinking outside the box, you can fix things that otherwise would be thrown away and end up at the tip. So yeah, we'll call this video done, and we'll go from there. Any questions, just let me know. Thanks for hanging out in the shed with me. See you on the next one.